So ito ang circuit diagram na diniscuss ko sa unang video lecture ko about solar power system. Ngayon naman ay ituturo ko kung paano mag-compute ng bawat component. Una dito ay ang solar panel rating at kung ilang solar panels ang kailangan sa setup. Ang susunod ay ang rating ng hybrid inverter. Siyempre, i-compute din natin ang rating ng mga sumusunod. Ang DC circuit breaker, DC surge protective device, battery circuit breaker, AC circuit breaker, at AC surge protective device. So yan ang mga components ng hybrid setup na aalamin natin ang rating ng bawat isa. Kaya panoorin ninyo ang video hanggang sa dulo. So yan ang susundin natin na mga steps para maayos ang proseso ng pagko-compute. Ngayon, umpisahan na natin ang step 1, which is load analysis and load profile. Sa step na ito, ang gusto natin malaman ay kung ilan ba ang energy consumption per day in kilowatt-hour. Bakit kailangan natin alamin ang energy consumption sa loob ng isang araw? Ito kasi ang magiging reference natin sa pag-compute ng solar panel rating na i-discuss natin sa step 2. Sa pag-compute ng energy consumption per day, ay may iba't ibang pamamaraan. Isa dito ay sa pamamagitan ng electric bill. Kung ang gagamitin ay electric bill, mas maganda kung ang gagamitin mong electric bill ay para sa 12 months para mas accurate ang mako-compute mo na energy consumption per day. So kung may 12 months kang electric bill, ang gagawin mo lang ay kukunin mo muna ang total energy consumption ng buong taon, tapos i-divide ito ng 12 para makuha ang monthly average. At ang monthly average ay i-divide naman ng 30 days para makuha ang energy consumption per day. Pero dito sa video na ito, ay mag-example lang ako ng isang buwan na electric bill para hindi humaba ang video. So gamitin lang natin ang isang buwan na electric bill. Makikita natin sa electric bill ay itong actual consumption at ito ay monthly energy consumption. So para makuha natin ang energy consumption per day, dapat nating i-divide ang monthly energy consumption by 30 days. And this is equal to 200 kilowatt-hour divided by 30 days, which is equal to 6.67 kilowatt-hour or 6,670 watt-hour. So yan ang pinakamadaling gamitin para makuha ang energy consumption per day. Kasi yan electric bill ay readily available naman sa bahay natin. So tapos na tayo sa step 1. Pero bago tayo pumunta sa step 2, which is sizing of solar panel, ay gusto ko rin ipakita ang ibang paraan sa pagkuha ng energy consumption per day. Ngayon, pag-usapan naman natin ang ibang paraan sa pagkuha ng energy consumption per day. So itong pag-uusapan natin na method ay medyo mahabang trabaho. Siyempre, pipiliin ninyong gamitin ay yung unang method by the use of electric bill. Pero importante rin na malaman ninyo ang ibang method. So sa method na ito, kailangan natin kunin ang wattage ng electrical equipment or electrical appliances. Pero may mga instances na wala ng nameplate or nawala na dahil luma na ang appliances. Minsan naman may nameplate pero wala naman nakalagay na wattage. Katulad ng appliance nameplate na ito, ang makikita lang ay current or amperes at voltage. Kapag ganito ang nasa nameplate, meron naman paraan para makompute ang wattage at dito gagamit na tayo na kung tawagin ay Ohm's Law. So parang isang batas siya kasi ito ay napalolooban ng iba't ibang formula katulad ng power, voltage, current, and resistance. So kung ikaw ay hindi pamilyar sa mga formula ng Ohm's Law, meron tayong tinatawag na Watt's Will and Ohm's Law. At dito sa Watt's Will ay makikita natin ang mga formula ng power, voltage, current, and resistance. So kung sa nameplate ay merong lang label na current or amperes na kung tawagin ay capital letter I at voltage or volts na kung tawagin ay capital letter B. So para makompute natin ang wattage ng appliances at kung titingin tayo sa Watt's Will ay gagamitin natin ang formula na power in watts is equal to B times I or voltage times current. So the wattage is equal to 120 volts times 10 amperes which is equal to 1,200 watts. Paano naman kung walang nameplate ang appliances? Like for example, itong electric fan. So anong paraan para malaman ko kung ilang watts ang appliances? Ganito, kailangan mo ng multitester para makuha mo ang resistance in ohms. Siyempre, iseset mo muna ang knob sa resistance. Tapos, itutok mo yan dalawang probe ng multitester sa terminal ng electric fan. For example, may nakuha kang resistance na 200 ohms. So, meron kang voltage equal to 230 volts at yung nakuha mong resistance ng electric fan equal to 200 ohms. So, punta ka na sa Watt's Will and Ohm's Law. Diyan sa Watt's Will ay kailangan mo ang formula ng power in watts at dito makikita ang formula na power in watts is equal to voltage square over resistance. So this will be equal to 230 volts square divided by 200 ohms and this will be equal to 264 watts. Therefore, ang wattage ng electric fan is 264 watts. Ngayon, alam na natin ang mga wattage ng mga appliances, punta na tayo sa load computations. So dito sa load computation ay isusulat ninyo ang lahat ng appliances sa bahay, pero dito sa video na ito ay mag-example lang tayo ng konting appliance or loads. So ano ba ang purpose ng pagkuha ng wattage ng mga loads? Siyempre gusto nating malaman ang total energy consumption per day. At ito ang ating magiging reference value kung gaano ba kalaki ang kailangan na solar setup. So dito kailangan natin gumawa ng list of appliances that you like to supply by your solar system and also the power or watts of each appliances at kung ilang oras mo siya gagamitin sa loob ng isang araw at ilang piraso ang bawat appliances at total energy per day. For example, you have the following appliances like electric fan, laptop, rice cooker, and LED bulb. Ang wattage nila ay 80 watts, 60 watts, 500 watts, and 10 watts. At ito may operating hours per day na 5 hours, 5 hours, 2 hours, at 12 hours. At ang dami ng bawat appliances ay 2 pieces, 1 piece, 1 piece, and 4 pieces respectively. So para makuha mo ang watt hours per day ng bawat appliances, ay kailangan mong i-multiply ang watts, hours per day at quantity. So 80 times 5 times 2 is 800 watt hour. 60 times 5 times 1 is 300 watt hour. 500 times 2 times 1 is 1000 watt hour. 10 times 12 times 4 is 480 watt hour. So para makuha ang total energy consumption per day, ay itotal natin ang watt hour per day ng bawat appliances. And the total for our example is 2,580 watt hour. And that is our load reference per day. But supplying this total energy from the source, which is from solar panel, kailangan din natin i-consider ang power loss sa bawat equipment, katulad ng solar panels, inverter, at mga wires, bago ito makarating sa mga loads. Dapat ninyong tandaan na every electrical system has system losses. And the system losses will depend on many factors. For example, in the solar panels, maraming factors ang pwedeng makaapekto sa performance nito. Una diyan na may malaking reduction sa output ng solar panels ay tinatawag na partial shading. Like for example, the shading coming from nearby trees or any structures. Another factors that significantly affect the output of the panel is the operating temperature. Another components that adds to system losses is inverters. Most inverters have an efficiency rate of around 95 to 98%, which translate from 2 to 5% power loss. Another components that causes power losses are DC cable and AC wires. All wires and cables have resistances, and the amount of resistance depends on length, diameter, and materials of wires. Ngayon, mag-umpisa na tayo sa sizing ng solar panels. So, paano ba sinasize ang solar panels? We discussed earlier in step 1, which is the load computation. At base sa computation, meron tayong total energy consumption per day of 2,580 watt hour. To convert it to kilowatt hour, please note that K means kilo, kilo means 1,000, WH means watt hour, and 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 1,000 watt hour. So 2,580 watt hour is equal to 2.58 kilowatt hour. As per our computations, the total energy consumption per day is 2,580 watt hour or 2.58 kilowatt hour. And we discussed earlier that the system will incur system losses. So to compensate the system losses, kailangan nating i-design ang rating ng solar panels by adding to computed total energy consumption per day ang system losses. Usually, some designers added a buffer ranging from 30 to 35%. So with total energy consumption of 2.58 kWh, I will use 35% system losses. So 35% of 2.58 kWh is equal to 0.903 kWh, and 2.58 kWh plus 0.903 kWh is equal to 3.483 kWh. At yan ang total energy consumption per day that the solar panel will supply. Paano ba makompute ang solar panel rating? So meron na tayong isang parameters na kailangan, which is the total energy consumption per day plus a buffer of 35%. Sa pag-compute ng solar panel rating, ay kailangan natin malaman ang peak sun hours. So, ano ba itong peak sun hours? In layman terms, ito ang oras or period of time na ang isang lugar ay nakararanas ng matinding sikat ng araw. In English, we call it high-intensity light. At ito ay madalas na nararamdaman, like for example, in the Philippines, is from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So kung ipapakita ko sa graph, ay ganito ang itsura niya. Makikita natin sa graph na ang 1,000 watts per square meter intensity of sunlight ay nararanasan mula 10 a.m. hanggang 3 p.m. Let's say the average peak sun hours is 4.5 hours. So to compute for the solar panel capacity in kilowatt, we will divide 3.483 kWh by 4.5 hours. So the solar panel capacity is equal to 0.774 kilowatt or 774 watts. We already computed the solar panel capacity equal to 774 watts. And since the available capacity of solar panel in the market is by 50 watts, 100 watts, 200 watts, 500 watts, etc., we will make the 774 watts as 800 watts. So dito sa setup na ito, dalawang options ang gagamitin natin. Pwede tayong gumamit ng 100 watts solar panel at 200 watts solar panel. So kung 100 watts ang gagamitin natin, kailangan natin ng 8 pieces of 100 watts. At kung 200 watts naman ang gagamitin natin, kailangan natin ng 4 pieces 200 watts. Maraming iba't ibang method ang ginagamit sa pag-compute ng capacity ng inverter. Pero ang paggamit ng iba't ibang method na yan ay may iba-iba rin kadahilanan or purpose. At dito ipapakita ko ang mga iba't ibang method para mai-demonstrate ko ito. Gamitin na lang natin ang load profile sa ating example setup. Like for example, may mga installer na gumagamit ng total load sa bahay. So in this load profile, the total load ng bahay is to simply add the following wattage. So the total load is 650 watts. Therefore, the size of inverter will also be equal to 650 watts. At yung ibang installer naman ay ginagamit na reference ang rating ng solar panel sa pag-size ng inverter capacity. So kung gagamitin natin ang capacity ng solar panel na na-compute natin dito sa example setup, the inverter will have a rating of 800 watts. Yung ibang installer naman ay ginagamit din na reference ang solar panel capacity, pero ino-oversize nila ang inverter capacity to anticipate future expansion and load surges. Ito ay ginagawa nila by adding 25%. So the inverter rating will be 1000 watts. So we have different method to compute the inverter capacity. Pero lahat naman iyan ay tama. Depende na rin sa owner or installer, but of course, it will incur different costs of investment. Now we are going to discuss the sizing of battery bank. But let me first explain further about hybrid solar system setup. Sa mga naunang video lectures ko about hybrid solar system setup, na-discuss ko na ang isang magandang katangian ng hybrid solar system setup. Though the inverter is designed to have three sources of power as input to the inverter, ito ay pwede mo rin ma-operate kahit isang source lang ang input. Pwedeng AC grid power only, or solar power only, or battery only. Pero siyempre, di mo naman gagamitin ang hybrid inverter na AC grid lang or battery lang. At hindi rin economical kung gagamitin mo siya na combination of AC grid and battery bank. Ang pinakamaganda at economical na combination ay solar power plus AC grid, and this will be likened to grid-tied setup. Pwede rin ang combination na solar power plus battery, and this will be likened to off-grid setup. So sa mga nagpaplanong mag-DIY ng hybrid setup, pwede rin na walang battery kasi nga mahal ang battery. Sa hybrid setup ko ay gumamit ako ng kaunting battery na lead acid kasi ang purpose ko ay magamit siya during gabi na nag-brown out or nawala ang grid power. At least, importante na meron ka pa rin ilaw at kaunting electric fan na magagamit. So ano ba itong battery? In this hybrid setup, battery is another source of power that will provide electricity to the loads, just like the solar and grid. So the three sources of energy is in tandem. Sila ay nagtutulungan sa isa't isa. Ibig sabihin, pag kulang ang isa, tutulong yung isa. Pag nawala yung isa, the other will take over. So ibig sabihin, the battery will come a time that it will handle all the loads of your house. So it is necessary to design the rating of battery bank, considering also the parameters we use in sizing the solar panels. So we need to use also the load profile. Now, what are the other parameters we will consider? We will also include a buffer to compensate the system losses, and this is equal to 3.483 kilowatt-hour. This is the total consumption per day plus 35%. Now, will that parameters are enough to compute the size of the battery bank? The answer is no, because there is another parameters to be considered, and that is the DOD or depth of discharge of the battery. These parameters was recommended by the manufacturers of the battery, wherein the purpose is to lengthen the lifespan of the battery. Please note that the DOD for lead-acid battery is different with the DOD of lithium-ion battery. For instance, the lead-acid battery has 50% DOD, while lithium-ion battery has 80% DOD. Maaaring maitanong ninyo, paano naman namin iseset ang DOD ng battery? Yan ay maipoprogram mo sa inverter, at yan ang susunod kong gagawin video lecture, kaya don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell. There is another parameters that may be considered by an owner of the solar setup, but it is not necessary, or I may say compulsory, to be considered. This parameters is called as the days of autonomy. Ano ba gamit nito kung pag-uusapan ang battery? Sa simpleng paliwanag, ito ang idadagdag na battery capacity. For example, I will apply 2 days autonomy. Ibig sabihin, kung yung 1 day autonomy needs only 5 battery na 100 ampere hour each. So pag sinabing 2 days autonomy, you need another 5 battery na 100 ampere hour each. So the battery needed is 10 batteries na 100 ampere hour each. Pag sinabing days of autonomy, ito yung capacity ng battery to supply the loads independently. That is without solar or grid, but also considering the battery bank are fully charged. To demonstrate it, in our example, nalaman na natin na 3.483 kWh ang amount of energy in a day para supplyan ng battery or solar. Now let's say that you decided to apply 2 days autonomy. You just simply double the 3.483 kWh by multiplying it with 2 days, and it will be 6.966 kWh. In this example setup, we will be using only 1 day of autonomy, and this is equal to 3.483 kWh. Now we have all the needed parameters to compute the size of a battery bank. So dito sa video na ito, ay ipakita ko lang ay ang paggamit ng lead-acid battery. Pero kung magko-compute kayo gamit ang lithium-ion battery, papalitan lang ang value ng DOD sa formula na gagamitin nyo. So itong deep cycle lead-acid battery ay may DOD of 50%. At gamitin natin ang 1 day of autonomy at ang DC system voltage is 48 volts. Now the size of battery bank in ampere hour is equal to total energy consumption per day, including 35% buffer, times days of autonomy divided by depth of discharge times DC system voltage, and this is equal to 3.483 kWh, then times 1000 to convert into watt-hour, then times 1 day, then divide by 50%, then we need to convert the percent into decimal, then times 48. So the size of the battery bank is 145 ampere hour. But let's make it 150 ampere hour. So the 150 ampere hour we get is the capacity of one 12 volts 150 ampere hour battery. What we get is one 150 ampere hour 12 volts battery. But our DC system voltage is 48 volts. So to have 48 volt system, ang kailangan natin ay apat na battery na 12 volts 150 ampere hour, and the 4 batteries will be connected in series to get a 48 volts battery bank. Then the positive and negative terminal of the battery will be connected to the inverter. Since you chose a 48 volts DC system, it is necessary to buy an inverter with 48 volts DC input voltage. Ngayon mag-compute naman tayo ng rating ng DC circuit breaker for the solar panel. Ano bang mga parameters ang kailangan para mag-compute ng circuit breaker? As we already discussed in step 2, we computed the rating of solar panel which is 800 watts. At nalaman na rin natin kung ano ang mga rating ng panel na available sa market na angkop sa rating na na-compute natin. So base sa mga available panel sa market, pwede tayong gumamit ng 100 watts at 200 watts. Siyempre, mas economical in terms of labor, space, at cost kung gagamit ka ng 200 watts panel. So in this example setup, we will be using 4 pieces of 200 watts solar panel. Na-discuss na rin natin earlier ang pag-size ng inverter at ang rating na nakuha natin ay 1000 watts. So ang susunod mong gagawin ay titingin ka ng hybrid inverter sa market na may rating na 1000 watts at aalamin mo sa specification kung ano ang MPPT DC voltage range. Kasi diyan mo ibabase kung anong connection ang gagawin mo sa apat na solar panel. For example, ang nameplate ng hybrid inverter ay may operating voltage range na 30 to 150 volts DC. Ngayon, titingnan mo naman ang BOC or open circuit voltage ng 200 watts solar panel na gagamitin mo. So, makikita mo sa nameplate ng solar panel na ito ay may BOC equal to 23.5 volts. So, base sa BOC ng solar panel at DC voltage range ng inverter, may dalawang option ka na pwedeng maging connection ng solar panel na papasok naman sa DC voltage range ng inverter. Now, if you will connect two panels in series, you will add the BOC of two panels, and that is 47 volts. So, it is within the range of 30 to 150 volts. Now, if we will connect 4 200 watts panel in series, you will get 94 volts. And it is also within the range of 30 to 150 volts DC. Though both options are within the DC voltage range of the inverter, but the 4 panels in series is the best choice because it is much better to choose a higher voltage that is within the DC voltage range of the inverter. Because higher voltage input to the inverter means higher efficiency of the inverter. Since we decided to use a 4 panels in series, the next thing to do is to look what is the short circuit current or ISC of the panels, because that will be your reference in sizing the DC circuit breaker. If we look at the nameplate of the solar panel, it has a short circuit current of 15.7 amperes per panel. Please note that in series connection, the current flowing in the circuit is the same at 15.7 amperes. So to compute for the rating of circuit breaker, you will add to the value of ISC a 25% safety factor as per Philippine Electrical Code. So ano ba itong 25% safety factor? Ito yung capacity na idadagdag sa rating ng circuit breaker to compensate for the continuous loads because the operation in continuous loads should not exceed 80% of the circuit breaker's rating. So after applying 25%, the final current capacity of circuit breaker is equal to 19.63 ampere. Since walang rating ng circuit breaker sa market of that value, we will use a 20 ampere DC circuit breaker. So dito na tayo sa step 6, which is the sizing of feeder wire for solar panel. Sizing of feeder wire for solar panel is the same as sizing of each circuit breaker in terms of parameters to be used. Those parameters are short circuit current and 25% safety factor. In this case, the 25% factor is a safety measure to account for potential overloads or surges in current that a solar panel system might experience. So the size of wire should rate at 19.63 amperes. So by looking in the conductor ampacity table, we will use a number 14 AWG wire, THW or THSN. So step 6 pa rin tayo. Pero ang i-compute naman natin ay ang feeder wire ng battery. To size the feeder wire for battery bank, you have to consider the inverter rating, battery bank voltage, and the application of 25% safety factor. The 25% factor is also a safety measure to ensure that the wires can handle the loads under sustained or continuous operation without overheating the wire. Ngayon, kunin muna natin ang maximum current, and this will be equal to 20.83 amperes. Then apply 25% factor and we will get 26.04 amperes. Now if we are going to look in the ampacity table, we will use number 12 AWG THSN with 30 amperes full load current rating. So step 6 pa rin tayo, pero ang i-compute naman natin ay size of feeder wire from inverter to loads. So to size the feeder wire from inverter to loads, you have to consider the total wattage of the loads, but sometimes you must consider future expansion. So you will use instead the inverter capacity. So the maximum current using the inverter capacity is 4.54 amperes. Also, you must consider applying the safety factor for continuous loads. So the final current will be 5.68 amperes. If we are going to look in the ampacity table, we will use number 14 AWG TSSN. Also, the AC circuit breaker to be used is 15 ampere or 20 ampere rating miniature circuit breaker. Now we are in our last step, which is the sizing of surge protective device. We already knew in the nameplate of the solar panel that the maximum voltage is 150 volts DC. Also, the AC system voltage is 220 volts. So to properly size a DC surge protective device for a solar panel system, the main consideration is that the voltage rating of SPD will be higher than the maximum voltage of your solar array, and consider factors like cable length and location of SPD. The position and number of SPDs depend on cable length between solar panels and the inverter. For cables below 10 meters in length, install one SPD near the inverter, while 10 meters above, install one SPD near the inverter and another SPD closer to the solar panel. For AC system, size the AC SPD using the same parameters for DC system. There are two types of SPD, Type 1 and Type 2. Type 1 SPD is typically installed on the line side of the service entrance for protection from external surges and direct lightning strikes, while Type 2 SPD is typically installed on the load side of the service entrance or near the distribution panel board. So this is the summary of hybrid solar PV setup. In this diagram, it is also indicated all the values of the parameters that are computed.